So, you have a movie for me?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, Ryan George. Well, welcome to the Virtual Comiccon for today. I hope you're doing well.
Thank you. Yes, I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man, all things considered. And, I'm really love your YouTube series, both the Ryan George YouTube page and, of course, your work on Screen Rant. And I got some questions for you today, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, how and when did you start out in comedy, writing and performing?
I've been doing comedy it's been probably 12 years now. I started doing YouTube sketch comedy back in 2008, 2009. I have a channel with my friends Sam and Brandon called Moving Mind Studio, and we just started making funny sketches whenever we could and trying to make the viral content and all that stuff. So that's really when I got my start, and it didn't become a full-time job until I guess 8 or 9 years later. So it was really just for fun, but always trying to work towards doing it full-time, or hopefully working in the film industry in some other sense, but always comedy for sure.
Speaking of comedy, what would you say is your biggest influence in comedy?
There are a couple. Definitely the Lonely Island, Andy Samberg and stuff with the SNL digital shorts. They're kind of, showed that it was possible to do sketch comedy on the internet and that people were interested in it. And that was really kind of this revelation that I could just make stuff kind of from home, low budget. People don't really care that it's not, the best looking thing in the world. So, and they did really weird stuff too. So I was really into that. And then in terms of just comedy influences, I'm a big fan of Bo Burnham, also John Mulaney, very different style, but very, very funny. So yeah, probably those are my main influences, I'd say.
Awesome, man. Basically, your videos, they're very on point. They're very quotable. And my girlfriend and I tend to quote them a lot. Would you say your videos do they have a lot of ad-libbing, or are they 100% scripted?
They are very much scripted, just because of the format itself. Because, I wear, let's say, the producer costume, and I say all the producer's lines, and then I get changed, and then I say all the screenwriter guys' lines, and I cut them together in editing. So if I ad-lib something on one of the characters, I need to go in and change the script and sometimes do a costume change if I've already recorded that other character, So it gets complicated. But I will ad-lib, I'll rephrase things, but kind of the spirit of every line kind of has to stay there. Unless it's a really good joke that I think of on the spot, then I'll absolutely kind of rechange and redo the other character. But for the interest of time, I'm just... I spend a lot of time on the script writing phase to kind of make sure that I don't really ad-lib too much, just for my own sake in editing and in filming.
Gotcha. Have you ever forgotten to actually say one of your lines and then realize in editing that, uh-oh?
Yeah. In, I think early on, I think probably the first Wonder Woman pitch meeting, I think there's a gag where I come back and the guys, the screenwriter guy's I think I forgot to say something super easy, barely an inconvenience. And the producer guy's what are you talking about? And I think legitimately I forgot to record it. So I had to just add a tag at the end. So I realized just before sending it off. So it's kind of oh my God, thank God. I know it's probably going to happen one day that I'm going to forget a catchphrase, and I think it'll be time to hang it up because then people are going to get really, really mad at me, I think.
Well, I don't think Bart's said "Aya caramba" for 2.5 decades, and I don't think any of us are losing sleep over it. So
that's
should
true.
be okay.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I'll kind of phase it out.
Speaking of pitch meeting, how did pitch meeting come about? Was it something that you first tried out on your own, or was Screen Rant involved from the start?
So it was kind of a parallel thing where I was making sketches on my own channel, playing multiple characters. And at the same time, I was working for Screen Rant, doing kind of voiceovers for just scripts that other people wrote. or I was also doing kind of on-screen, like 5-minute list videos. And they kind of asked me if I had any content format ideas because they were looking to try out some new stuff. And I'd done this kind of 30-second pitch meeting on my own channel, inspired by this John Mulaney stand-up bit. And it was just a 30-second pitch meeting for Justice League in 2017. And it was literally just because that movie, things would happen. Like there would be a problem, and then they would solve the problem, and the movie just continued like that. So I think I said super easy, barely an inconvenience like 4 times in a 30-second video. And so basically I presented that to Screen Rant. I was like, I think I could say more crap about Justice League. I think I could expand on this format. And it just so happened that so many people kind of had problems with that movie that a lot of people watched that first pitch meeting. And then a month later, The Last Jedi came out, which a lot of people had a problem with too. So after that, those 2 videos got like a good amount of views, and Screen Rant was kind of like, can you make 2 a week? And that's just how it started. It just kind of like, it's been nonstop ever since.
That's
now
amazing.
I do 1 a week now because it was just insane.
It's not as super easy or barely a convenience to make these videos. It is to just say the lines.
Yeah, absolutely not. They are a ton of work.
Okay, well, I want to ask you this one. From an editing standpoint, your timing is like fantastic.
Okay.
Did you have an interest in editing before your YouTube career, or did you have to like learn on the job?
I kind of learned doing YouTube in like 2007, 2008, right at the beginning with my friends. But then one of my very first job out of university was editing wedding videos, and I did that for a year. And so in that year, I just got really, really good with the Adobe suites pretty much. So I got very fast with it. And then on the side with my friends, I was kind of developing my comedic timing. And so they kind of ended up working well together. I could kind of like, I had the timing that was starting to develop, and I had the editing skills to kind of like pull it off in the end.
Yeah, you become like a one-man production company when it comes to that. And in this kind of situation, that must have been like, wow, am I glad I have my skills and I'm not dependent on anybody to come over or anything like that.
Yeah, very much. I mean, I was very kind of fortunate in the misfortune of the world in that I was already doing my thing from home when everyone kind of had to shift to doing the same thing. And you kind of saw like Saturday Night Live trying to adapt to their comedians doing stuff at home, but you could kind of tell that they didn't necessarily have that skill set. Like some funny sketches came out of the SNL kind of COVID at home episodes, but a lot of them were like, okay, so Kate McKinnon doesn't know how to use a microphone. That's so I can't really hear her jokes. So yeah, it was definitely an advantage for that. And also people were looking for content at the beginning of the pandemic, and suddenly a small pool of people were able to deliver that. So yeah, I was very fortunate in that sense. So I was able to just keep rolling pretty much.
Awesome. And also speaking of, what's your favorite character to play in pitch meeting? The writer, director, or the executive listening to the pitches?
Probably in terms of writing, it's the screenwriter guy, I'd say, because he kind of like that's the one who kind of breaks the story. And so a lot of jokes come from him. I think I prefer playing the producer guy just because it's a lot of like reacting, which is really fun to do. And all like every like crazy face usually comes from him. And it's also faster to shoot because I don't need to like explain a whole movie. I just have to be like, oh really? And just kind of like move along like that. So yeah, that's probably it.
Okay, so dude, I gotta ask you, because there are people on the internet that could rip on a movie, and they do it kind of in a mean sense where it's almost kind of like I find myself defending bad movies just because they're being so mean to them.
Yeah.
But the way you do it is with such kind of like it comes from a place of intelligence and love. Mm-hmm. But I gotta ask you, man, after developing these skills, when you're watching a movie for the first time, is there a part of you that can turn off the little pitch meeting like devil and angel on your shoulders? Or, can you enjoy it and only turn that part of your brain on for the second viewing?
It's definitely the little pitch meeting demon is always kind of there when I'm watching a movie. It is hard to turn that off. But I do love watching movies, and so I still get a lot of enjoyment out of it. But even a movie that I'm not doing a pitch meeting for, when I'm watching it, I'm kind of still like, oh, that they said that because they want this to happen later, kind of thing. Like you kind of see the framework of the movie. So, but when I'm doing the pitch meetings, it does come from a place of love. I love movies, and I also try to not put my personal opinion in it too much. Sometimes you could totally see it shining through when I don't like something, I think. But in general, I try, like, if I'm making a point, I try to make it so that it's like you can't argue with it because that's just what happened, Like I'm just looking for like the nuggets of kind of truth. And then like my own opinion will sneak in sometimes, but mostly if there's a problem, I try to make it undeniable that there's a problem with them. Yeah.
Oh, like the Super Mario Brothers movie where literally the writer just gives up. He's like, I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I've started saying that quite a bit in the pitch meetings recently. I don't care. Clearly, sometimes they didn't care when they wrote certain things, So, yeah.
They didn't think they'd have the internet to answer to eventually. They thought it's a one and done. It'll get them in the theater 3 weeks, on video 3 years later. Who cares?
Money made.
Ryan, we got some rapid fire questions for you.
I'm ready, I think.
All right, cool. Favorite current book?
Right now I'm reading a book called The Attention Merchants. That's kind of like the history and psychological stuff of companies that sell people's attention, basically. Like how a TV show essentially is there, it has to be so engaging so that the network can make you watch commercials, and that's how they make their money. So it's about kind of like how the world became constructed by these companies that are basically designed to get your attention so you can watch a commercial. Pretty much. It's pretty interesting.
First live concert?
My first live concert was Carlos Santana.
Cool.
It wasn't my choice. I was probably like 10 years old, and my parents thought I would want to see Carlos Santana. I think they were playing the CD a lot at home, so we went to the Bell Center, which I think was called the Molson Center back then. That's how old I am, and watched Carlos Santana live.
Okay, favorite Quebecois curse word?
Tabarnak.
Nice, short, and to the point.
It is. It's a great one.
All right. Are you familiar with the show Friends? I'm assuming you are.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Especially if you're pitching me. By the way, everybody, it is beyond brilliant. You got to see that one. That's amazing. Out of Rachel, Ross, Joey, Chandler, Monica, or Phoebe, who's your favorite character?
Probably Joey. I love a good dumb character, Yeah.
Nice. Favorite food that all your friends think is weird?
I'm one of those people that does the pineapple on the pizza. So some friends think that is weird, but I go a step further and I dip any pizza into ketchup. Like I also put ketchup on poutine. I know that some people get really mad about that, but I don't. I love ketchup. I can't. My favorite.
I like it, man. Okay, so if you could win an Olympic medal for any sport, real or fake, what would it be?
Something that involves talking to yourself, I guess. Like a tennis match where I have to run around and hit the ball that I've just hit myself, probably.
All right, who's an actor, director, or performer that you would most like to work with?
John Mulaney is one of my absolute favorites. I'd say Bo Burnham, but I think he needs to just do stuff by himself. He's too much like I don't know if you've seen Inside, but it's like He's okay. He doesn't he doesn't need to collaborate with me. Or Adam McKay would be great. I love what he's doing like in movies recently.
Awesome. Yeah, me too. Okay, so in a zombie apocalypse, choose your weapon.
Gun. I think everyone tries to get creative, but I just want a gun. Just like, then again, I don't know how to shoot a gun or anything about guns. So, yeah, gun with instruction manual.
All right, and here's an interesting one: Marvel versus DC, comics, movies, or TV. Favorite superheroes? What do you prefer out of Marvel and DC?
I'd probably have to say Marvel, just because I have more fun with those movies. Yeah, and there's so many of them that there are several that I like a lot. Yeah. So Marvel. I'll get some angry emails because of that, but I'll say it, Marvel.
I'm sure you do get some angry emails sometimes. And have you ever experienced some like backlash from particular videos? Because apparently Snyder Cut fans are vicious, for what I hear.
I haven't really gotten any angry emails about any of that. There are probably some angry comments, but I haven't really scrolled through. Like I try to not scroll looking for angry comments, because then they ruin my day. So I don't actively look for them. So yeah.
Awesome. And there's if you don't mind me asking, there's so many budding YouTubers watching this right now. Can you tell us what kind of gear you use?
Yeah, this is a temporary setup back here, but I literally got like all pretty much the cheapest stuff I could get off of Amazon. Like this is just it's like a $600 Nikon camera that I pretty much only got because the screen flips out and I can make sure that I'm well framed. And this is just like it's like a 2 lighting kit from Canadian Studio, and that's just like a cheap green screen off of Amazon. That's really it. Like it's really just the cool thing about YouTube is you don't necessarily need like amazing production quality to like if you spend a lot of time on the script and the concept and stuff. The production side of it matters a bit less. I will say something that I learned in university like 12 years ago. People are a lot more forgiving when it comes to bad video than they are when it comes to bad audio. So I would say like get a decent mic setup, and I have like just something called a Smart Lav and a Zoom Tascam. I'm trying to see if it's around, but it's not. So yeah, consider like just some pretty good sound equipment and you'll be all right.
Awesome. 100% agree with you, by the way, about the sound factor. Like we were watching one time Terminator 1 on a laptop, but plugged into a speaker that's half the size of me. And it was probably one of the most enjoyable experiences ever watching that movie, because I could even hear the duct tape.
Yeah.
But I've seen on a giant plasma TV, like with the worst sound imaginable, and watch the same movie, and I'm just kind of like, no way. At opposite. Give me good sound, give me crap video. It doesn't matter.
100%. Like you can't watch a movie if one of the speakers has like a little. Just shift the audio like half, like a couple of frames, and it's unwatchable. Like, your brain is like, that's not. They're not saying the words. Illusion.
Yeah.
It's so important, but it sucks. It's so difficult to master audio. I hate it. I hate audio.
Yeah. I know. There's always this one part of the one-man band part that just like, you know, something's going to suffer.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you had a guy hanging out that all his job is only to do sound, it's going to be great, because he's like, this is why I exist.
Exactly. Yeah. Much respect to those guys.
Anyway, Ryan, thanks so much for talking to us today. This has been absolutely amazing. Everybody, make sure to check out not only Ryan's work on Screen Rant with Pitch Meeting, but the Ryan George Facebook page is absolutely amazing. I think my favorite video you've ever done is relatively new, and it's the interview with the marketing producer of Marvel films, where you're in a hot tub and a chalet. Like it's so funny, and it's the B-roll you shot of you sipping cups and staring out the window under your narration. I think it just makes it completely brilliant. Before we go, how did you come up with that one? That's a little out of your regular element with the green screen behind you. That's a location. Those are angles.
Yeah, it's fun. We actually shot some of those episodes in like 2018 or 2019, and they were just never released. And then recently, they started releasing them on the Screen Rant channel, and those are a little more elaborate. There was a whole team there, so like we could get a little crazier with stuff. And I just wanted to kind of parody those master classes that every director seems to have done. We got a lot of those that are going to be coming out like once every 2 weeks. Some with me, some with other people that are like really fun too. It's really fun to write something for other actors and see them perform it. So I hope people really like those too. We shot like 5 a couple of years ago. We shot some new ones this year. So those are really fun.
Amazing. Your videos get millions of views. And I do you remember the first time like a video really hit the ceiling like that and like skyrocketed past your farthest expectations? And which video was that?
The first kind of, it's funny. I think about this sometimes. I had like a couple of viral videos with my friends back in like 2011, 2012. We did one that was called "Shit Guys Don't Say Out Loud" that got a couple million views. And then the next year we did a fake trailer for like a gritty magic school bus movie. And it was such an amazing feeling that I think if I hadn't gotten that validation that like you can have some successes online like 10 years ago, I don't think I'd still be doing this today. So it's just that's probably but in terms of my own videos, it's probably the pitch meetings that I was kind of like, oh my God, okay, people are really interested in seeing these. This is great. That kind of like relit that fire that had been started like 10 years prior.